Hello, John. Lovely to see you again. Supposed to be talking about something serious at the moment. I'm just trying to remember. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Roman villas, you said.
Roman villa, Withington, Gloucester. Of course, the director always call these creative names. So the name on the report, which I happen to have here from the Time Team archive shed, Withington, and it was called Villas Out of Molehills.
Yeah, very catchy.
Vague memory is we had a scheduled area, and some people called the license had done some work there, discovered some mosaics. And
fantastic mosaics.
And Time Team being Time Team, of course, we end up going down the hill and across the road, and we sent you off with your geophysics. And what are your memories of that geophysics plot and how things worked out?
Well, it's so often the case with these villa sites, people actually discover a mosaic, and that's it. That's all they want to see. And so clearly it's an exciting site, but where the mosaic sits within the villa building isn't really known, and where the building fits within the estate or whether it's just an isolated building isn't known. And so the beauty is we can actually go from the known where the villa is and work out and actually map everything. And what's so good is that villa buildings are great for geophysics because you've had lots of burning, you have the underfloor heating, you have the furnaces, you know, there's the swimming pool, well, not swimming pools, but bathing pools. The bathhouse is often a separate building, and that's often nearer to a stream. And so here we were at Withington, and we'd got that sort of hope for that scenario. And as we did the work, yes, it all came together. And I seem to remember the one thing was that I found what I was convinced was a large plunge pool. It was a big rectangular blob in the results. And it just gave me the impression that it was something like we'd found earlier at Turkdean and on another site. And I was convinced that was going to be a deep plunge pool. And I seem to remember we dug in, but nobody believed me, as is often the case.
I think there was a lot of somewhat humorous suggestions about you having found a sort of Roman hot tub, or what you thought was a Roman hot tub, and one thing and another. But I'm looking through the report at the moment. What was your memory? Of course, you come up with the geophys. You say there's an anomaly here. It feels to me like this. The diggers go in. What was the point at which you thought, crikey, what did you look at in the trench that made you think you might be right?
Well, just the fact we'd got such a uniform feature, and it was going down into the ground. And it was considerably deeper than lots of the other archaeology we were looking at. I mean, everyone was sceptical, they always are. But there was no doubt that the geophysics was showing something substantial.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to see the program to remember exactly what the conclusions were.
Yeah.
I think it was edited out a bit.
Yes, but those programs are always a bit worrying to me, because we have a proposal which is that so-and-so in the past found this wonderful thing, mosaic, whatever it is. We get to dig a field next to it because it was scheduled. And it always worries me that, you know, sometime near the end, Tony's going to say, well, you know, look what they've found, and we've turned up a couple of walls and a ditch. But I think on this occasion, things did come up, we won't mention everything that came up, we'll leave a few secrets there, but a mosaic, part of a mosaic came up, I think, hypercoarse tiles. And I
thought you weren't going to tell everyone.
Well, no, those are only that's not the headlines, that's not the highlights. Geophysics loves a hypercourse.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, who doesn't? I mean, dare I say, villa sites are brilliant for geophysics. You've got all this burning going on, as I've said, and So magnetically, you get very clear results. The ditches, the pits fill with highly magnetic material, and they stand out like chalk and cheese. They're really strong contrasts. And then the walls, which don't show so well in the magnetic survey, they're much clearer when we use resistance survey, when we send electric currents into the ground. And we could actually see the plan of the villa building. It was a corridor villa, one long corridor at the front and a series of rooms behind. But that building was set in the wider landscape, a whole series of ditches. And that's where the geophysics contributed, apart from finding this plunge pool and other features. I mean, I'm pretty sure we had a bathhouse down by the stream. It gave us lots to think about, and it gave us a picture of the villa estate, not just a mosaic. And it's the villa estate and how it sits in the landscape. I'm sounding like Stuart here now, but that's what's more important. The mosaic is nice, of course it is, but to actually understand the villa estate as an entity and how it would have worked within the surrounding landscape, that's the bigger knowledge. And how they could afford to build bathhouses, how they could afford to, build these wonderful mosaics, how they could afford to have underfloor heating. These weren't peasant farmers. These were people with quite a lot of riches, clearly involved in trading. And some of the finds that came out reflected that. They weren't sort of stuff you got from Woolies. This was sort of Marks and Spencer's sort of quality, if not even better.
And I think what was nice for me, it was quite a cold time when we were up there digging, my memory of this. And the thought of a hypercaust, a sort of heated floor, and that stream was just so convenient to probably change its position over time, but the way they'd use the natural features like the water supply to deliver water into the bathhouse and come out the other side, it just felt like the right thing to have down there, didn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, with the water systems, the conduits, the drains, the channels, also fantastic pieces of work, really. The way they all connected. And I'm sure the water had been good for brewing.
I think that's probably an important element. And I think one of the things I'd like to mention here is that a lot of the villas we did in the Cotswolds, it was that bigger geophys plan that you did that set them in a context. And that record of Time Team's Cotswold villas, which Neil Holbrook has very kindly said is a very important collection of work, is important because of that bigger perspective.
Yeah, and I was actually working on a site last week in the work I do now on a site somewhere in Leicestershire, and somebody had found a Roman mosaic, and we were called in to investigate it, and we did exactly the same as we did on Time Team. We started with a magnetic survey, worked out, we found a series of ditches, 5 ditches in this case, marking the extent of the estate. There were 3 or 4 buildings inside those ditches. There was a bathhouse outside of it, an oiled hall, and we could interpret that because of the work we'd done on Time Team and interpret it with confidence. And that, as you say, is the beauty of the geophysics. It gives you that bigger landscape and bigger understanding of what's going on.
And if you were talking to someone who was thinking of having a watch of Withington, what would you say to them? You should watch Withington because of what? Why do you think people should watch it?
Just because of the geophysics. No other reason. That's good enough reason.
John, thank you very much. That was absolutely lovely.
we're hoping that we can come together again, do some geophysics on a couple of fantastic sites that I'd like to get involved with again, along with other members of the team. And we'd like to do further investigation, further research. But in order to do this, we actually need your support. And we'd love you to go to Patreon, Time Team channel. And if you can support us, then you may well be able to see us live in action, geophysics, digging, drinking. What more could you want in 2021? I've not been told to say this, but it's well worthwhile.